Hey everyone!
Hello.
All right. I always forget to go back up on YouTube.
I ate your burger, by the way. Not sorry.
Yes, we are
Okay,
live.
we are live.
You
Lovely.
you did write shoe though instead of show.
Did I write shoe? All right, guys, I'm sorry. I'll edit it, or is it gonna stay shoe? It's probably gonna stay shoe.
It's probably gonna stay shoe.
I don't think there's any way to edit it. That's really funny. I don't think there's any way to edit it because it's coming from SteamYard. I'd have to end this one and restart.
Yeah, well you can edit it afterwards.
Yeah. Can I edit the title afterwards?
Mhm.
Okay.
You can
awesome.
edit it in YouTube.
Awesome. All right.
Okay.
So where do we want to start?
Well, do you want to start with the very beginning, like the first? What did you think of the first book?
Okay, so the first book I actually rated a 4.5 out of 5 stars. I was going to rate it a 4 out of 5 stars, but then I felt like there was a lot of potential and I thought the writing style was really lovely and I felt like there was a lot of depth and the magic system was really unique. So I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars on Goodreads because I felt like it deserved a little bit more than a 4. So I gave it a higher rating on Goodreads, but I rated it like a 4.5.
Okay. And then we both did not particularly enjoy this book.
Yes, no.
So, do you think this is like just a second book slump situation happening? Do you think the third one is going to be better? Or do you think like what made you not jive with this one?
The characters. Zaylee was just so annoying the entire time. Her and Enon, I couldn't get just everything that her and Amari went through in Children of Blood and Bone. Amari sacrificed so much for her that I just didn't like the way she treated her. Granted, and I feel like Amari would have acted differently if Zaylee had been by her side more in Children of Virtue and Vengeance. Like, although Amari did some bad things, I feel like it was always out of like good intentions. She wants peace. She doesn't want this war. She wants good for everybody. And Zaylee just like refuses to do that. And I don't know. I just really don't like how Zaylee just essentially turned her back on her best friend.
What about Enon?
Yeah, he's just a little bitch.
Do you think what do you think his intentions were?
See, he knows he's doing wrong. Like, you're in his first person. He's like, I should say this, and I really don't want to. I should be a better king. But he, like, just listens to his mom too much. I don't know.
Yeah, Mom Bear is crazy.
Yeah. Like, and I feel like he had some. So, in, like, Children of Blood and Bone, I understood his motives because this is how he's been taught his whole life. I got it. Like I didn't fault him for it. And then he had that character development and that character change. And I was like, perfect, this is great. Like he's on Zaylee's side now. We can kind of forgive him. And then he just
Yeah, he almost like they undid all of that character growth that we got in the first book.
Exactly. And that pissed me off. So he essentially turned into the villain. So I kind of wish that he had just stayed the villain. Like if he was going to be the next villain, he might as well just stay. Like this whole wishy-washy is just like, I don't know. It just pissed me off, honestly. What were your thoughts? I have a lot of thoughts. This is going to be a rant video on my part. I didn't particularly like Virtue and Vengeance, honestly. I probably would have DNF'd it if it wasn't for our live show, to be frank.
So do you think she was trying to write him as a morally gray character, but just failed on that part because he didn't come off morally gray.
Mm-mm.
because he had that. There wasn't. I think the part that she was missing was the conviction. So if he's gonna be morally gray, he has got to be. I'm doing this because this is what I think is right.
Right.
Versus like he was very aware of like the bad that they were doing and he was choosing to do it anyway. So it's like
Right.
not quite morally gray. And I think maybe if she would have wrote him as morally gray, it would have
Agreed.
landed a bit better. Hi.
Hi.
So I did not jive well with the characters either.
Yeah.
Especially the romance. The romance really kills it for me like a lot in this book because there wasn't a lot of chemistry.
Although I do love Amari and Zane. I've been rooting for them since the first one.
See, and I just don't care.
Really?
I really liked Rowan, but that's because I like Rowan. It's
I
not because
love
I
Rowan.
like Rowan and Zaylee or
Mhm.
Rowan. Like I just like him as a character. It's not necessarily I like them as a couple.
Yeah. And to actually go back, I'm like tweeting that we're live. Sorry.
No, you can.
And going back to saying writing Enon as a morally gray, I feel like she kind of did that with Rowan. I feel like Rowan is the morally gray character in this series. He does things for himself, but he also has good, he tries, I feel like he's the morally gray character. Whereas like I still stand by Enon is just a little bitch. I don't know. I like Rowan. I think you don't think Rowan maybe is the morally gray a little bit?
I mean, as much as a pirate can be, like I just think that's just being
Exactly.
a pirate. I don't really know if that's necessarily morally gray because there's like, at one point, do you say this is how this character or this type of person acts versus it being
Yeah.
like a character? I don't know. Like if he was not a pirate and acting that way, maybe. But I think because he's a pirate, that like falls into that wheelhouse. So like that's just
Yeah.
how they act.
I think my issues with it's just way too similar to Throne of Glass. Let's take a shot every time Gabby references Throne of Glass in our live shows.
Which is very ironic. So
Yeah, this is a colored book. Everyone's of color.
yeah.
Which I
and this
like. I think it's great. I like the diversity and everyone has different skin color tints, shades of skin color, copper and dark brown, and I like
I
that.
appreciate that it's in own voices as well because
I do too.
oftentimes people will talk about the references of color to their skin tone and how they are. It's not well represented on how people write them. So I
Right.
like that we got to see a good example of this is how you do this too.
Yeah, I thought I really liked that. But so yeah, I just kept referencing Throne of Glass and I can't I can't get over it how they're really similar even though it starts to take a story of its own. I just found so many similarities and I just don't like it.
So for me,
I don't
one of the
know.
biggest things besides the relationships killing this book for me was
Yeah, that was pretty bad in the first one.
they don't like their dad. Their dad is not someone to look up to. They actively hated their dad. However, if you took a shot every time someone says, she says, strike Amari, and it's her dad's voice in her head,
Yeah.
I'm like, why are we referencing them? Like, you hated him. Why are you like continually following his advice through this? And I'm
Yeah.
like, you would die if you were taking a shot every time that you heard that. And I'm just like,
Yeah. So
why?
I didn't see it as I saw it as him haunting them, not necessarily as a good thing. So like every time I saw it as like flashbacks, like postpart like PTSD with Amari. Like every time she would hear her dad say strike, I didn't take it as like a good thing.
But she followed his advice. It was
That's true. That's true.
when she was fighting for the spot for the connector elder position.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. You're right.
She was following his advice.
Yeah, you're
And it's
right.
like it never lets up because they continue to reference that phrase over and over again. And I'm like, why are we still looking at him as someone to follow? And I that part drove me nuts because I'm like, you've already seen the bad that he's done. You've actively worked against his doings for the 2 books. Do you think that the twist that the mom like basically killed everybody and opened up the doors, do you think that switches who the villain is? Like, do you have any sympathy for the king now?
No, because I mean, I don't know. I don't. I think
So
he
which one's
has.
worse?
I mean, they're both really bad. The queen is worse. The queen is by far worse. I hate her. Oh my gosh, she's so the queen is by far worse, but I don't sympathize with because like I don't know. It's like Amari's had a lot of heartbreak, but she still tries to do the right thing, essentially. Except towards the end, she slips up. But
so the whole reason why he is so against magic is because his old family got killed, right? So at least that I can understand, and that makes him morally gray because he
truly believes magic is the root of all evil.
Right. It's not like a necessary, I mean, it is prejudice thing with this, but it's not necessarily based on a certain type of people. I don't know, maybe it is.
Yeah.
But he had something like a driving force behind this. So it's like I get where he's coming from, and I can kind of get he's not just pure evil. Meanwhile, the queen is just pure evil.
Yeah, so, she's horrible. To answer your question is Throne of Glass and A Court of Thorns and Roses trilogy.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. No, I agree. The queen's horrible. I'm
so sad about Mama Agba.
I know. But okay, this is what's interesting though. Like you were surprised. I wasn't surprised with the turn of events. Like I figured she was going to die. And like I had an idea
just because like we thought she was dead before.
Yeah. Thanks. Yeah, I assumed she was going to. Then I also assumed that like I knew the cousin was gonna die. I was like, he's gonna die. I knew Zaylee's first in command was gonna die.
That made me real sad though.
Yeah, it did. That was a really, really sad scene. Yeah,
I will say at least like as much as I don't care about some of the certain characters or I don't care about the relationships of certain characters, I will say that she does make you feel emotion through it because like I definitely felt sad with like Mama Agba and her first in command too. So
yeah,
at least like.
Well, so the reason I assumed they were going to die is like the second they started talking about connecting magic and if you do it, like you wield it too much, you're going to die. I was like, Zaylee's going to try this shit and someone's going to die. So I assumed that. And then when they started talking about sacrificing to create more of like magic, like Amari and her mother, I assumed Mama Agba was going to be the one to do it because she was kind of the ones like, she was like mentoring both Amari and Zaylee. And then, yeah, so I wasn't really, really shocked with that. I don't know. I just, for some reason. So, yeah, I wasn't too shocked with this book.
So, with this being the second book, what are the highlights for this for you? Like, I still really think that the strongest point in this is the magic system.
Yeah.
Because I think that's really unique, and I liked all of the different classifications, I suppose, of it.
Mhm.
And the way that the magic works, I think, is a little more unique and very vivid.
I agree. You definitely, I like her writing style. You can see what she's trying, like what she's writing, you can see it on the page. And I think that's
Yeah,
really great.
at least with descriptions. Now,
Mhm.
however, I don't necessarily care for the way that she writes characters. I think she was focusing a little bit more on the plot points and
Mhm.
not necessarily on the character growth in this one. I think we got to see better character growth in the first one
Mhm.
and have a little bit more of a dimension for the characters, but this one felt fell flat for me
I
because
agree.
I think all of the characters stuck with like one emotion the entire book.
There was no growth the entire time. Zaylee was out for revenge. Enon was just
Enon.
a little pansy, essentially. Like, couldn't he had no growth. Um, the queen was horrible. So she was a great villain. I mean, I will say she wrote her villains well because you hate the queen. Um, Zane is honestly just there. Like the story could go,
Yeah, you could really take him out of it. I
you
could
could
not
take him
care
out
less.
of it. Yeah, I mean, you could take it out, tweak the story a little bit and still have the exact same plot point without him.
Can I just say, it's a bit weird the brother sister dynamics in this book.
It's a little weird, I'm not gonna lie.
Because to me, when I was listening to it, it felt like Zaylee was jealous of Amari and of
Yes!
Zane's attention. And I was like, that's
Ew!
weird. Yeah,
I
yeah.
know, I know.
And then
Yeah.
when Amari and Inan were like talking through the dreamscape, and Zaylee was like, don't talk to him, like, whatever. I was like, okay, that's weird too. And then Amari did go and talk with him, obviously.
Mhm.
And then he was like, we can rule the kingdom together like we're
Together.
supposed to. And I was like, wait, what's happening?
Yeah, I
Because
thought so too. I'm like, wait a second. Wait. So in order to be queen, like
yeah,
yeah, okay. I'm glad I wasn't the only one who thought that. I'm like, this is really weird. This is
and
getting weird.
and between Zaylee and Amari, I was, especially on audiobook, it's hard to distinguish between which chapters you're in which. I think when I
Mhm.
was physically reading it, it's
Yes.
much easier, but they didn't have a distinct voice.
At
So,
first they did. In Blood and Bone, I could tell the difference between all three of them towards, yeah, like exactly. I was getting if I wasn't paying attention, if I was listening and I started doing something else like making dinner or just like doing n- like took off paying attention for like 15 seconds, I had no idea whose point of view I was in.
right, because nothing was making them more distinct. So,
Exactly.
because they are so similar, when we got to that part, I like took a step back and I'm like, wait a second, am I not in the right like
Yes.
person of view that I thought I was in? I was like, nope, that's Mari. That's weird.
Yeah.
And so I think that's also why I have such an issue with the relationships, is because I was like, I'm uncomfortable because they seem very similar to their siblings.
Yes. Another thing that what I had really liked in the first one is I loved the friendship between Amari and Zaylee. I we don't get a lot of Hi Haley.
Hi. Whoa, everything just popped in all at once.
Oh yeah, sorry guys. Okay, popping in during my break. Just want to say hi. I did enjoy the book, not as much as the first one. So interesting. I was doing some research before the live show, and I did notice that like a lot of people had the same thing. Like they enjoyed the first one a lot more than the second.
So that makes me think that it may be just a
Second book
second
slump.
book slump.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
I will say this like reaffirms that I love books with pirates in it. Like you know, like the
Yes.
pirate books.
Yes. I need to read more. I need to read more books like that. But what I was saying is, I feel like we don't get a lot of books where it's like friendship based and not as much romance. Like books usually have like a good deal of romance, and like the romance fell a little flat. So I was like really hoping that the friendship dynamic would uh, be a strong suit, and then it kind of upset me that like she essentially turned it into just like Mean Girls, like just the cattiness between Amari and Zaylee and them not trusting each other anymore. I thought the scene where Zaylee goes into Amari's room at the end of Blood and Bone, and she was like braiding her hair, and they were really talking, and it was so sweet and heartwarming. And we didn't get any of that in Virtue and Vengeance. None of that.
And if Zaylee could have just like taken a beat for a minute, she
I
could have
know.
seen people like as they truly were. Trevor and I were kind of talking about this, and he was like, "This is the definition of blind hate," and I'm like,
Yes.
like she was just in that rage sense,
Mm-hmm.
and that's all she could see. And I'm like, why is she? She was so against everybody, and she thought everybody was out to get her. And I understand like this was a war situation, but there was people like Amari who had those good intentions, and Zaylee was not seeing clearly on
Mm-hmm.
a lot of things because she was so tunnel visioned, and that drove me nuts because I'm like, it's kind of like the miscommunication trope.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
So it's like
so bad.
if you just would have like stopped for a minute, all of this could have been avoided. And
I know.
I feel like that is a poor plot device because although it is realistic, it does happen. I feel like we deserved something a little bit more complex than just a trope that if we could have taken that part of out of the story, none of this would be going on. So I didn't particularly like that it's like just with the trope.
It was also recycled from the first. I thought we went past that. I thought like we were past that because that's what the first one's about. It's all about revenge and hate and kind of growing past that and learning when to fight, when not to fight, when to use restraint. And I thought that was pretty much part of Blood and Bone, and then we got through that, and Zaylee grew as a character, and
she wasn't just an angry little ball
exactly
like she was at the beginning of it.
Yeah, I can understand why she was angry with everything too, and I understand why she was having like PTSD from being tortured, but it was just a recycled trope essentially from the first one.
Yeah, she definitely had validity in why she was so angry about the situations. I will give you that.
Mm-hmm.
But like you said, like we've already seen her grow through this, and like if you're saying that she's back where she was at the beginning of Children of Blood and Bone, that means that she didn't learn anything through everything that she went through that we saw her grow in. So
she
it's
essentially
like
had no development.
Yeah, and that was like what made the first book so good is because of the character development and all of that. Same with Inan. And then we basically erased half of that book for their growth, and now we've started back, and we're now, at least as a reader, you're like, what this I thought we were better than this. Like we'd already gotten through that part, and that's why I connected with you so much.
I know.
And then here we are, and then it's just more frustrating on our side because then it's like, why are we doing this again?
I know. Another thing that I feel is really frustrating with Inan, like you said, I kind of wish he had chosen a side. So in Blood and Bone, I mentioned in my vlog that I wasn't unsure about him, and I felt like he could go either way. I felt like he could betray them or he could truly be on their side. And in the end, he chose a side. He chose the side of betrayal to essentially be like the villain, or like morally gray. Like he thought he's doing what's best, but he's on the side of like the nobility. So I was like, okay, I can roll with that. But then we have Virtue and Vengeance, and he's still like up and down and up and down, and he wants to do this, but he's thinking about this, and I'm like, just pick a side. I feel like I would have liked him more if he had picked a side and had stuck with it, and then we could be like, okay, so he is the villain, or you know what I mean, like he's just
more decisive and clear.
Exactly, he was more wishy-washy than morally ambiguous.
Yeah, which is annoying as
yes absolutely. Yeah, it was I would have much preferred him have been like had the romance fizzle out because it was bad, and then have them just basically fight till the death, I guess, in Virtue and Vengeance. I would have been okay with that.
I think what would have made the romantic relationship dynamic more interesting is if Zaylee would have fallen for him, and then he betrayed her.
Mm-hmm.
But then with that, like, he always had that intention of that, like, of ensnaring her and then betraying her. So it could have been like a I hate you now type of thing. And then she could be angry about that. But then both of them go head to head and have that type of fire versus like, she's my weakness though. Like, I did all this shit, but she's also still my weakness. So I think like if he would have, it would have been like more of like an epic.
Imagine like reading it like where like you're in Zaylee's perspective and she thinks she's falling in love with him and he's being genuine, and then you're in his perspective and he knows he's gonna like betray her and he's like, I got her where I want her. That would have been so good.
Right, and it would have had way more character like development on both of their parts.
More of a plot twist. It would have been more of a, I feel like that would have been really good.
And that would have explained a little bit more of why she would be so angry too, because she would have felt betrayed and would have been angry at herself for falling for someone, and she could look back at like the warning signs and things like that.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. Do we like Rowan? Did we discuss this, Rowan and Zaylee?
Oh no, well, no, I don't think we've discussed it.
Do we ship them? So I don't ship anyone with Zaylee because I don't like her.
Yeah,
but
I like Rowan in general.
I like Rowan, so I ship it because of Rowan, and I want him to be happy.
I just want more of Rowan.
I want more of Rowan, exactly. And if it has to be in Zaylee's perspective, so be it. Right. But he's great. He's phenomenal.
Yeah, and he definitely was like the comic relief. I was
going to say that.
He had the most personality, I think, out of all of them.
Oh, yeah.
That's why. And Mama Agba. I couldn't decide which character was my favorite.
I liked her too. I'm not really sure how I feel about either of their relationship. Yeah. I like Zayn and Amari though.
No.
I mean, I could have done without it, but I thought it was cute.
It just felt like there's a giant war going on, and they just felt very innocent with each other. I mean, they did like develop in this book. But I mean, their feelings towards each other.
Yeah, true.
I don't know. I didn't feel the chemistry on the page, and I didn't care about anybody.
Yeah, there really isn't much chemistry except for Rowan. You know he likes Zaylee. You can see that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
but I think that's the character. Like, I like the character.
Yeah. See, I'm so wishy-washy because, like, I feel like she can write good characters. Rowan, he's not in first person. We barely see him, and he's like our favorite character. So she can write good characters. So, and Amari, I love Amari. She's actually my favorite. I think she's great.
Over Rowan?
Yeah, I think so.
Ronan?
Rowan. I think it's Rowan.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's the same.
Ronan is the other series that we love. No, it's Rowan.
Yeah,
but it's spelled differently. It's spelled differently. This one's Roen. No, it doesn't matter. What did you end up rating it?
I don't know what I'm gonna rate it because it pains me to rate this one low because I loved the first one. But honestly, like, probably like a 2 out of 5 stars.
That's what I was thinking. 2.5 maybe.
Because I like the world. I like the magic system. I think that's all very well developed. I like when it's just around the magic system and about the political intrigue parts of it, I'm very much into it. When everything else
is
I just don't care. And it like that drags down the entire book when we spend it angry on stupid shit.
I know. Like if you were to write out the plot line of like what happens, It's a great story. Just
Oh,
take
except
out,
the pacing.
oh
The
my God,
pacing
take
was
out
not great though.
just like the 200 pages of monologue that each characters have between just themselves, and you're just like, make up your mind.
And this book's not that long, but this book felt longer than the first
It
book.
did.
And it's like
100%.
half the size.
100% felt longer. Yeah, the other book is 18 hours. This one was 13.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Haley says Amari honestly pissed me off so much in this one. Loved her in the first book though.
I also feel like we're biased because we annotated in the first one. So I was reading it and I was reading your annotations. So it was just a little more special. So that could be why I enjoyed it more as well.
Okay, Amari. I mean, she irritated me, but Zaylee pissed me off way more than Amari. Because I was like, at least Amari had a goal and she knew what she was working for, and she was good. She was working for the good of the people, like
she never
everybody.
strayed. She never strayed
Yeah.
from her goal. Never strayed.
And I feel like Zaylee was only working for her people, not for everybody's well-being. And while I can understand that to an extent because she was the one who was being discriminated against and
Targeted.
like, yeah, I can understand that, but it's like you're holding one man's actions accountable for an entire group. And so, and maybe that's how we're supposed to feel. It's supposed to be a racially charged book. So maybe that's how we're supposed to feel, is that Zaylee is almost the enemy in that sense, because she was hating an entire group of people. She was discriminating against an entire group of people.
She was.
Off of one person's actions. And she was blindly hating someone without taking a step back. So I guess in that sense, if you're thinking with that filter, it's a really interesting take on it, because usually the monarchy and the royals are the ones that are doing all of that. And they did, but when they were self-correcting, it was too late. I did like the quote that Inan says, "We suffer so our people can live better." I've never thought about royalty like that, but it's definitely true, is that they take it on the chin versus letting the people suffer.
Yeah. I'm echoing.
I think you just muted you just muted yourself. I think you muted yourself on the computer, because I'm seeing, there you go.
Okay, the echoing's gone. Perfect.
So do you have anything else that you want to address with this one? Are you planning on picking up the third one?
No.
Even if it's like a potential of this just being a second book slump?
Maybe. I don't know.
Like, for me, the plot point's good. The magic system is good. I like the world building. But I'm a character-driven reader. And the fact that I don't like 90% of the characters kills me. Especially because I just killed off Mama Akbat. And it's like, that was one of the characters I liked. So it's like, I don't have a lot of incentive to keep going.
That's what I meant to do. My bad. Sorry. I'm like touching things. Yeah, I agree.
So
I don't know.
Think you'll
are you going to pick it up? We're not sure yet.
I don't think that I'm going to continue, just because it's not worth the...
Bye, Haley. Thanks for stopping by.
It's just not worth the payoff for me. If I don't like the characters, I'm not going to continue reading.
Yeah, I'm wondering, although the whole like being on a pirate ship, the plot the third one might be a little bit more intriguing. I'll see how big it is. If it's like 600 pages, but if it's not very long,
reviews are too.
What?
Let's see what the reviews are too.
Yeah. These reviews aren't that great. I don't think people like this book as much. Let me check. I don't know exactly what it is on Goodreads. but I do know that people definitely liked this one less, but I don't know what it got as far as like what rating it got.
It should be interesting to see because this is being adapted into a movie.
Is it
So,
really?
it should be interesting to see how well that is going to translate on screen.
Okay, so it has a 4-star, like exactly 4-star, but only 10,000 ratings. So,
This got significantly less hype than the first one.
oh, for sure. For sure. You know, I think it could make a really good movie because all the part that is really annoying was all the internal dialogue.
And I think it's going to be so cool to be able to see the magic system play out.
Yes, I think they could do some really awesome stuff with it, like the colors and
Yes.
the gods and the scene in the temple,
Mhm.
all the different. I think it could be
And like the
really, really
scenery is
cool.
going to be beautiful.
Yes, on the beach and
Like through all of like the forest and stuff, like I think that's gonna be cool.
it's just if they fix the pacing because it starts strong where oh my gosh, it's like merging from Blood and Bone. We start off with Amari trying to get her throne, and then her mom attacks, the dome collapses, and they run away. And then like you have essentially 200 pages of just like all this bullshit back and forth. Nothing really happens. And then the final scene is like shit hits the fan. So they have enough for a plot. They've got some good substance.
Yeah, and I think because like you're not being able to do everything word for word, and I think it's going to be shorter. I think it may be adapted pretty well through it.
Agreed. When is it supposed to be released, or is it just? It was just saying that it's adapted.
Well, she's been talking about it in interviews, but I don't know when it's adapted. Like,
Got it.
Slated for.
Got it. Got it.
So our next book for February is The Gravity of Us, and this one we're pretty excited about. So,
yes. When was it released? It was recently, right?
I don't know if it's released yet.
I think it's getting released soon.
But this is a teen male romance that I think.
Teen or is it new adult?
It says teen boys.
Okay. It's The Gravity Between Us, right?
Gravity of Us.
Of Us.
It comes out. Oh yeah, it just came out yesterday.
Awesome. I knew it was coming out soon. We're really excited. If you guys don't know, we've already created a list of books that we have up until I want to say June.
Yeah.
So it's on Hannah's Twitter and it's also on our Goodreads.
Yeah, it's up till June.
So we already have all of our books picked for up until June, and then so yeah, I'm excited. And they're all new releases, which is what's great.
Yes. And then after The Gravity of Us, we are hitting our Crescent City.
And that's going to be a 2-month book.
Soon. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's going to be March and April. I'm so excited. I'm so excited for Crescent City. Oh.
So that is going to be it for this live show. Thank you guys all for coming and stopping in. And we will see you next month, or I guess at the end of this month, for The Gravity of Us.
Yeah. Bye, guys.
Bye.